Okay, so I'm gonna have to be quiet because I'm sitting at the library. I'm not sitting at home right now. By the time you reach halfway or perhaps 15 minutes into this, I'll be walking home. Those of you who are my students will know that I work with the system of YouTube classes where what I do is I start off with a presentation on YouTube and the students will be able to interact in writing. They'll type in the chat and interact with me on video. That is intended for listening, reading, and writing practice. So nothing will be lost in this. I'm not a big YouTuber, so every time I do a live presentation like that, there are only my students in there. Once in a blue moon, maybe a friend of mine will come in and type hello, but it goes unnoticed. This has proven to be effective since 2020 during the pandemic, and I'm fully confident in the system. Having said all that, we only have about 29 minutes because I'm using a new app. For about 15 years, taught classes online using Webcam Max, but I don't have Webcam Max on this computer and I'm not at home. So let's make it work. Today, both Engelsk N and Engelsk 2 are in the same class. We will have some shared sessions. Sometimes it will be online. Sometimes it will be at school. But I'll try not to, how do I put it? I'll try not to get sick or need to be out so that we can always be in the classroom. But there will be the occasional online session. At this moment, Engelsk N is working with listening and reading skills, and Engelsk 2 is working with reading and speaking skills. So we will be discussing all of these skills today. And I feel like there is an intersection that we can work so that everyone gets to benefit from the class. Engelsk Anne has the book and does not need what I'm about to put in here. I am going to be sending a screenshot or a picture of the page so that everybody can follow along in case they didn't take the book home. Speaking strategies. I might have to take a few, maybe a couple of screenshots. Speaking strategies. Everybody can benefit from these, and it's part of your course of studies, both for English and English 2. So you will be receiving this. Everybody will have this. So let's start with speaking strategies. I want you to type in chat whenever I ask you a question. It's very, very important that I see your names in chat and I see that you're typing. Please make sure that you answer the questions in the chat. If, for some reason, you're not able to type in the chat, write the answers on a piece of paper and then take a picture of that piece of paper and send to me via Teams. At 3 o'clock, you will be receiving a link to Teams where everybody who needs to interact with me on video and audio will be able to do so. And then we can talk about that. So let's talk about speaking strategies. First question, I'd like you to tell me what your concept of a speaking strategy is. Please type in. You can just type a simple sentence. And I'll be interacting with you in the chat box and writing things like I normally do. Everyone's very used to it. A speaking strategy can be used when you give a talk. Some of you will go on to do something in life where you will need to speak in public in English. So these strategies will come in handy for you. So let's start with the first one. Don't worry too much about making language mistakes. This is important on many levels. I'd like you to type in chat or put an emoji in chat. If you have type in chat, type yes or put an emoji, whatever is faster. If you have ever found yourself in a situation speaking English when you couldn't find the right word that you wanted to say and you panicked, if I don't see any emojis, I'll be surprised because even I have panicked at some point in time when I was speaking Norwegian and I couldn't find the word. Everyone panics at some point. I know that some of you have had experiences in English speaking countries. I'd like you to write in chat right now an experience that you had in an English speaking country, what country it was, and what the experience was, just in short sentences. I will be interacting with you in the chat right now. There is a bit of a delay, but I'm here live. Today is the 28th of August, 2024. This is recorded today. It is not an old video I'm trying to pass up as a live presentation. I have been teaching online like this in Norway since 2020, but before that, I was already doing it. So some of the experiences, and I know who's gonna type in chat because I know your personal experiences that you've had in English speaking countries that you have talked about before. I just want you to type to make sure that you're participating. Perhaps you didn't have an experience in an English speaking country, but you used English with people who didn't speak English as their first language, but English is the lingua franca. Please type in chat what lingua franca is. What is lingua franca? And why is English lingua franca? I hope you remember this because it's one of the most important aspects of what we learned. All of you, those of you who are now Vegetu, have learned about lingua franca and how English became the lingua franca, the circles of English, right? What are the circles of English? Do you remember any of them? There are three of them. If you can remember a couple, I'll be happy with that. Please type in chat. Those of you who said that lingua franca is a language that is used when two speakers of two different languages find a language in common, two or more speakers, to communicate because they can speak each other's languages. English became lingua franca because of the British Empire, first of all, the colonization, and it spread all over the globe. You need to know this if you don't remember anything from your English classes. But you remember this, I'll be happy. It's very important that you remember this. So, lingua franca, language that speakers have in common and use instead of their own. And then we have the circles of English. There are three of them. The inner circle, the countries in the inner circle have English as their first language. Then we have the outer circle. The countries in the outer circle have English as their second language, such as the Philippines, Pakistan, India. Those countries have English as a second language. Then the expanding circle. Norway is in the expanding circle. Brazil is in the expanding circle. Many other countries. Let's move on with these strategies and let's talk about them some more. Don't rush it. So some people think that being fluent means speaking very fast. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're fluent. Being fluent means speaking with coherent sentences, making sense and being understood, having intelligible speech. Intelligible does not mean, oh, I'm so intelligent. Intelligible means that people understand you. Use language fillers or set phrases you know. So here you have some examples. Well, let me think. What I want to say is, well, what I mean is that the next speaking strategy is keep it simple. I often tell my students about keeping it simple in the sense that you need to get your point across and make yourself understood. You don't need to use fancy words if you can't remember them. When you're speaking, you can pick up a dictionary to look for a fancy word. So keep it simple when you're speaking. When you're writing, you have some time to sit down, look up words. You have more time to think and create more elaborate sentences. Please type in chat if you remember some of the alternatives for a word like but. Instead of saying, I went to the beach, but I didn't enjoy myself. I want you to type in chat different ways to say that using a variety of different words. Please type in chat now. I went to the beach, but I didn't enjoy myself. Make the sentence more academic. You can change the structure of the sentence completely, and you can use a word like although, and you will say, although I went to the beach, I didn't enjoy myself. Or you can say, I went to the beach, period. However, comma, I didn't enjoy myself. That's a strategy that you can use when you're speaking if you realize that you have already said but. Well, this is very important, but what I was saying is that I have lived here for a long time, but then you can change. For instance, you say, I have lived in Norway for over 20 years. However, it hasn't always been easy, although sometimes I feel myself comfortable and fitting in certain groups. Other times I don't feel that way. So I used but and then I used although. However, that makes your speech more interesting to listen to, but still keep it simple. Try to express yourself the best you can with what you have. Explain, explain, explain. There are times when you can't find the word that you need, so explain what it means. For instance, let us just say that I forgot what the word table is, so I can explain that object that we use to set things on top of it. We can put plates and cups and have dinner on it, or we can use it as a desk to write or study. We can put things on this object. It is usually found in kitchens, living rooms, libraries. So you can explain the word if you don't really remember what the word is. You can explain it, and then somebody will come up with a word if it's an interaction where someone is bouncing off ideas off of you. Make guesses and try out new words. Experiment with language. So here's where Quizlet, when people are like, oh, Pollyanna, Quizlet, we're sick and tired of Quizlet. Maybe so, but it still has a place in the classroom. I have hundreds of Quizlet study sets with words that you can use and try out. Make it a goal. This week I have a list of 20 words. I'm going to try to use them in conversation in class when we're discussing different aspects of the topics for discussion in class. Then I'll use the words. We're going to talk about some of the hot topics in EFL right now as soon as I finish with this. Set yourself goals. Perhaps you feel like you already know how to communicate and you feel fluent and confident. You can still learn more. So you can have a goal of, I am going to use the words however, nevertheless, furthermore, in addition to, additionally. I am going to use more academic speech. That can be your goal. Ask for help. Do not hesitate to ask your listener to help you. So if you are talking to somebody who is more proficient or more competent than you can always ask for help. If you get stuck, don't panic. Take a deep breath. think for a little bit, and then try again. And I love what the book brings as an alternative, which is there is no shame in interrupting what you're saying, thinking about it, and saying it in a different way. You will have these screenshots. All of you will have them. But if you took the book home, then you won't need to refer to the screenshots at all. Now is the time when I'm going to have you get your phones. I hope your phones are charged. You can use a computer, but if you're using a computer for this, it will be hard for you to use it for Quizlet. Go to Quizlet Live, and we're going to start soon. The topics for discussion are current events in the United States as well as other relevant topics for EFL. Please type in chat what EFL stands for. English as a foreign language. That's what it stands for. Okay, I'm going to start a Quizlet live. Current events in American politics and other relevant topics. Don't pay any attention to the number that's going to be showing up right now because this is going to be recorded with. So I'm going to be playing it so you have a game showing on the screen. But this is not the code. Do not copy that. That's not the code. Do not copy that. Copy whatever I write in the chat box, not what you see in the screen or on the screen. This is just so the screen will be playing something while you play at home or at school, wherever you are. Okay, I hope you can hear me. I'm not sure that you can, but you can now open Teams and find the link to Teams. I'll be available there until 3:45. We'll be able to interact on video if necessary or audio if necessary. You have some tasks that you will hand in. It's not too much, but you have enough time to work on them, and I'll be sitting and waiting for you to contact me. By the time you open Teams, I'll be sitting probably in the tiny room with the computers in my place. It's very important that you understand that the classes are supposed to count, even if they're online. So you have to be present for the YouTube session, and you have to interact in the chat, and you have to hand in your work on Teams. The video conference on Teams, you may not want to be on video, but if you have to do a short presentation or if you need assistance, feel free to come on video. I'll be sitting there the entire time, waiting, and I'll be interacting with you. In that part of the class, there will be listening and speaking. I won't be the only one speaking. You will be speaking too. I'm sitting in the public place right now. That's why I'm talking so low. But I'm so close to the computer, I'm pretty sure you can still hear me. If not, then I'll start again. I'll start over. I still have some time before you're actually in. I'll see everybody soon.